Hi, and welcome back to The Kid Fix. My name is Dr. Ahmed Erekat, Dr. Cat for short, and while I did not expect this to be the first video back, it's a great place to start. A few days ago, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, surprised doctors by changing the language on their autism and vaccines website. They write, and I quote, "The claim vaccines do not cause autism is not an evidence-based claim because studies have not ruled out the possibility that infant vaccines cause autism." You've probably seen the American Academy of Pediatrics, pediatricians, and doctors everywhere outraged on social media, vehemently reiterating the fact that vaccines do not cause autism. In fact, on the same CDC page, it says in big colored letters, vaccines do not cause autism. However, there is an asterisk next to that statement. Many large-scale studies have proven that there is no link between vaccines and autism, but I thought it would be interesting to back up a little and give a little history on where this idea of autism having anything to do with vaccines came from in the first place.
In February 1998, Dr. Andrew Wakefield, a gastroenterologist at the Royal Free Hospital in London, published a paper in the prestigious medical journal The Lancet. The paper was a case series of just 12 children. In it, Wakefield claimed to have found a new syndrome he called autistic enterocolitis. He suggested a link between the MMR vaccine, that's measles, mumps, and rubella, bowel disease, and the onset of autism. While the paper itself was vague, it did not state that there was a proven link. Wakefield held a press conference where he went completely off script. He explicitly told reporters that he could no longer support the 3-in-1 MMR vaccine and recommended parents use single vaccines instead. This soundbite terrified parents. The thing about the MMR vaccine is that it is generally given at 12 months of age in the United States, and then a booster is given around age 3 to 4. Screening for autism typically starts at 18 months or a year and a half, with the earliest diagnosis being given around 2 years old, most diagnoses given around age 5. The media reaction was explosive, and the vaccination rates in the United Kingdom collapsed. Before the paper, MMR uptake was around 92%. After, it dropped to below 80%, and then in some parts of London, it fell as low as 50%. Measles, which had been nearly eradicated in the United Kingdom, began to return. But for years, Wakefield was seen by many as a brave whistleblower taking on the establishment. Thanks largely to the work of investigative journalist Brian Deer, writing for the Sunday Times over several years, Deer uncovered that Wakefield's research was not just sloppy but fraudulent and commercially motivated. Deer discovered 3 smoking guns. The first was a conflict of interest. 2 years before publishing the paper, Wakefield had been hired by a lawyer named Richard Barr, who was building a lawsuit against vaccine manufacturers. Wakefield was paid £435,000, that's roughly $750,000 in today's money, to find evidence that could be used in court against the MMR vaccine. He never disclosed this paper to The Lancet. Number 2 was a rival patent Wakefield had filed, a patent for his rival's single measles vaccine before his paper was published. If he could successfully destroy confidence in the 3-in-1 MMR shot, his own patent product stood to make a fortune. 3. The data was manipulated. When Deer compared the hospital's raw medical records with what Wakefield published, he found they didn't match. First, the timeline was faked. Some children had autism symptoms before they ever got the shot, but Wakefield altered the timeline in the paper to make it look like the symptoms started after the shot. Second, despite pathologists' reports that the children's intestines were normal in their colonoscopies, Wakefield changed the data to claim that they had non-specific colitis to fit his theory. There were also many ethical violations. First, Wakefield subjected children to invasive procedures like lumbar punctures, spinal taps, and colonoscopies without any medical need, purely for his research. In one famous incident, Wakefield needed controlled blood samples, so that means he needed blood samples from children who did not have autism. And he took those samples from children that were at his son's birthday party, paying them £5 each. He later joked about this and said, "I told them if they cried, they gave the $5 back." In 2010, the UK's General Medical Council, or GMC, issued a damning verdict. They found Wakefield guilty of 36 charges, including dishonesty and abusing developmentally delayed children. The Lancet fully retracted the 1998 paper, calling the claims utterly false, and Wakefield was struck off the medical register, meaning he can no longer practice medicine in the United Kingdom. Unfortunately, despite being disgraced in the medical community, Wakefield moved to the United States. Specifically, he moved to Texas, where he rebranded himself as a filmmaker and activist, and directed the film Vaxxed. And he's become a central figure in the American anti-vaccine movement. In 2000, the United States declared measles eliminated. But outbreaks have resurfaced periodically, most notably in 2019, largely in communities with low vaccination rates, driven by the fears that Wakefield started. To this day, despite studies involving millions of children, not just 12, proving no link between MMR and autism, the seed of doubt Wakefield planted remains a major public health challenge. I understand parental hesitancy when it comes to vaccines. There's so much information out there, a lot of which is conflicting. We hear stuff from celebrities. We hear from people who present themselves as medical professionals in instilling fears about vaccines and their ingredients. I also know that parents want what's best for their child, and I would never recommend anything to any families unless I'd recommend it for my own. Vaccines are part of the reason we live so much longer than people did in the past. I personally like to get any vaccine that I can because I hate being sick. So if you're unsure, I get it. Try establishing a good relationship with your child's doctor and talk out all your fears, and together make the best decision that keeps you and your family safe.